So Netflix games has been interesting, I guess we could call it. It's definitely had its ups and downs, to say the least. It all started about 3.5 years ago in July of 2021, all by a man who used to work at EA named Mike Verdu, and that is actually exactly who we're talking about today in this video, but I'll get back to him. Essentially, in the 3.5 years since then, they've grown their gaming portfolio, definitely. Like, they started with 5 games, now they're up to like 60 or 70. I think as of right now anyway, it's mostly just games that you can play on mobile devices, not necessarily like on your TV with your remote. They have added some pretty cool games like GTA, the original trilogy, and I think San Andreas is even on there. And they've got games that are based off of Netflix IPs, like they've got some weird like Stranger Things games. And something interesting, something kind of out of the blue. So Netflix games had a few different gaming studios as part of their whole team, and one of those was called Team Blue. This was added about 2 years ago, and it was actually a legitimate AAA gaming studio that was made up of gaming VPs that had worked on like Overwatch and Halo and like Sony employees. But actually a couple weeks ago it was announced that it was shut down. It was very random. But now with what has been a very recent news, what has just come out about Netflix games that I'm now talking about, the sudden closure of Team Blue could now actually be explained. Now, I do have to say, what I'm about to talk about has not actually, like, legitimately been connected to the closure of Team Blue. I don't actually know that. I'm kind of just speculating there. But here's what happened. So, that guy that I talked about, Mike Verdu, the guy that kind of it all started with about 3.5 years ago. Well, at the time, and really for the past 3.5 years now, he has been the VP of Netflix games. And that's a bit odd because from everything I can look at, I think he's like legitimately like the top dog of Netflix games, and to my knowledge, VP stands for Vice President, which would mean like second in command. So I don't really know why his title is VP. Everywhere I look just says VP. Maybe it stands for something else. But anyway, what has just made the news is about 4 days ago, Mike Verdu made a post on LinkedIn, which I didn't know that's where people like made legitimate business announcements on. Like I always heard that was like the social networking of businesses. I guess come to think of it now, it kind of does make sense. I don't know. It's just a little weird to me. But anyway, yeah, Mike Verdu made this long LinkedIn post saying that he was moving from VP of Netflix Games to VP with Netflix Games, but specifically of something called generative AI for games. So it's kind of a long post, and it has been heavily criticized, I have to say. A lot of people kind of just say that he goes on yapping about kind of just a lot of vague stuff. But essentially what it sounds like is that Netflix Games, or at the very least Mike Verdu, with his like new department here, generative AI for games, they are extremely like heavily embracing AI with game development at Netflix Games. Again, pretty vague. We don't really know exactly what this is going to look like we don't have a roadmap going ahead. But essentially it sounds like, I mean, kind of what you would expect. They want to use AI very heavily as a strong tool for them with game development. He compared a lot of this to like gaming in the 90s, specifically game development, I should say, and how that was just kind of the beginning of what ended up being just a huge like horizon of possibilities. He also stated that he understands that there are concerns with AI, there's ethical concerns probably that people have with like it taking people's jobs, mainly like voice actors. That's kind of been a hot topic recently. He says, quote, "Many view this technology with fear, but I am a game maker at heart and I see its potential to unlock all of us, to create mind-blowing new experiences for players, to lift us to new heights. Yes, we'll have to adapt and change, but when have we failed to meet that challenge as an industry?" End quote. So, like I said, he was very much criticized for kind of the vagueness of everything, and also kind of what I mentioned earlier, the ethical issues with strongly embracing AI, especially kind of in these earlier stages where we really kind of don't know the aspects of how much it's going to like take jobs from people, from voice actors, stuff like that. And with that also, I'm kind of thinking, and I'm seeing some people have brought this up as well, that, you know, maybe this is connected to the closure of that AAA studio Team Blue just a couple weeks ago. You know, maybe they're just wanting to cut these jobs, the jobs that people had that were really talented people, and they just want to replace that with AI. Now, again, that's not confirmed. That's just kind of a possible theory that I have. Now, I guess I have to give them credit too. I mean, I do also see video game development, but also technology as a whole, as really at this point right now where the possibilities are endless. You know, when he compared things right now with game development to like how things were in the 90s, I do get that. I do understand where he's coming from. And as just a gamer, as a person that consumes games, I think it is cool to hear that. It's awesome to think where gaming can go, you know, maybe a decade or two from now, and maybe AI can strengthen that. But that being said, again, the vagueness of this post is kind of concerning. Ultimately, we don't know where this is going to go. We will, I guess, just have to wait and see what Netflix Games does with apparently this new department, generative AI for games.